Hello friends, welcome to a new lecture today on MCQ session of esophagus. First, spontaneous esophageal rupture is more common in spontaneous esophageal rupture. See, spontaneous esophageal rupture can occur in a syndrome called as Borheave syndrome most commonly, and the most common site of rupture is lower left posterior part of esophagus. So we will see the options, right? It is not in pharyngoesophageal junction. Here the most common site is lower left posterior part of esophagus, that is lower part of esophagus. So it is just above the diaphragmatic aperture. Okay. Next, question number 2. Nissen's fundoplication. False statement is, first we will see the statements. It is the surgery for gastroesophageal reflux disease. True. Anterior reinforcement only. Yes. False. See, Nissen's fundoplication, you do 360 degrees posterior fundoplication. Once you do 360 degrees posterior fundoplication, it wraps all around the esophagus 360 degrees. So it reinforces all the parts of esophagus, both anterior and posterior esophagus. Then in which condition where you see anterior reinforcement? Anterior reinforcement is seen mainly in Dors fundoplication, where we have anterior wrap of 180 degrees. Where we do an anterior wrap of 180 degrees is done, which is anterior reinforcement for Dors technique. Proximal part of esophagus is plicated around the lower esophagus. Yes, in Nissen's fundoplication, you will plicate the proximal part of stomach. This is done for hiatus hernia. Yes, you can do it for hiatus hernia and also for gastroesophageal reflux disease. Then question number 3. Most common complication of hiatus hernia is. So, most common complication of hiatus hernia is. So, esophagitis is the most common complication of GERD and hiatus hernia. Reflex esophagitis is the most common complication. So, in these options, obviously, esophagitis is the most common complication of hiatus hernia. Next, gold standard, fourth question. Gold standard for diagnosis of gastroesophageal reflux disease is. Gastroesophageal reflux disease, the most gold standard is 24-hour pH monitoring is the gold standard for diagnosing gastroesophageal reflux disease. Which of the following is the earliest indicator for pathological GERD in infants? See, in infants, the most common symptom of GERD in infants is failure to thrive and recurrent pulmonary symptoms. So there is recurrent respiratory symptoms is the earliest indicator of pathological gastroesophageal reflux in the children. That is in infants. Because they cannot express the symptoms of dysphagia or regurgitation, respiratory symptoms are the first and foremost early indicator of GERD. Next, best test to diagnose. The sixth question, best test to diagnose gastroesophageal reflux disease to quantify acid output is. For quantifying acid output and best test to diagnose gastroesophageal reflux disease is 24-hour pH monitoring. Because pH decreases as the acid increases. So based on the 24-hour pH monitoring, we can quantify the acid output. Best anatomical test of GERD is demonstrated by, see, anatomical picture. With 24-hour pH monitoring, we cannot find out the anatomy. For anatomical picture of gastroesophageal reflux disease, we should do a barium swallow. For anatomical picture of gastroesophageal reflux disease. Next, 8th question. Most common complication of after Nissen's fundoplication is. See, after Nissen's fundoplication, carbon dioxide gas can enter the mediastinal space and create pneumothorax as the most common complication of this Nissen's fundoplication. Then, anti-reflex surgeries. All are true about anti-reflex surgeries except. So, we will see the options. Nissen's fundoplication is 360 degrees complete wrap. True. Then, Watson's is 90 degrees, not posterior. It is anterior wrap. Watson's is VA. A is A for anterior. Okay, so Watson's is 90 degrees anterior wrap. Then we have Taupet's, Taupet P for posterior. So 270 degrees T2. 270 degrees posterior wrap is Taupet wrap. Dors is partial fundoplication. True. Dors is 180 degrees anterior wrap. Okay. Then question number 10. Which of the following decreases lower esophageal sphincter pressure except? So we will see the options. Alcohol decreases lower esophageal sphincter pressure. Fat and peppermint also decreases, whereas protein increases the lower esophageal sphincter pressure. So protein is the answer here. So thank you guys for watching my lecture. Thank you.